What makes art? Why is art important? When I say art, what are the first images that come to your mind? The Mona Lisa? Vincent van Gogh? Raja Ravi Verma? Why is this art? Or are they stereotypes that we recognize as art? As all of you were great artists as children, so was I. But you might remember that as the years passed, you started becoming scared of drawing, painting. You thought your work was not as good as Leonardo. Why and where does this fear come from? Why is it that as children, we see art with a sense of freedom, but as we become adults, we fall into stereotypes? After school, I went on to studying art in a historical institution soaked with colonial training methods of teaching art. I was constantly haunted by the question of what is good art and what is bad art. But I soon realized I was asking the wrong questions. The question then became, what can art do? For you, for me. This is a collection of bottled sweat. How does this become art? The following are artworks done by a group of student artists from the Government College of Fine Arts, Chennai and Kumbakonam. They came together as a collective to do this exhibition called Archiving Labor. I curated this exhibition for the Students' Biennale 2016-17. So the students came together and bottled their sweat. Can sweat be art? Yes, it can. A substance that reminds you of a laboring body can become an art object. So what contemporary art can do is to make you rethink what you already know. It can challenge stereotypes of beauty in object making as a form of resistance. This video piece was done by Kamal, one of the artists from the collective. Every day he would take the suburban train to college and he made friends with Sundar, a blind man who sells sweets on the train. For this video, he invited Sundar to the college, gave him some clay. So now we can see a part of the video.
இதுமாதிரி பண்ணியிருக்கீங்களா பாதிஷா?
இல்லை பண்ணதில்லை, இப்போ புதுசாக பண்ணி
பாதிஷா தொட்டு
பார்த்துருக்கேன். இப்போ இந்த மாடலில் நல்ல பெரிய ஒரு மாடல் வேறு மாதிரி நான் ஒரு மாடலாக பண்ணியிருக்கேன்.
இது பண்ண ஏன் தோணுச்சு? இது பண்ண ஏன் தோணுச்சு?
ஞாபகம் வந்துச்சு.
சரி, தொடங்கும் போது
mentioned in the video, this is the first time he was touching clay, and he made a sweet that he sells on the train. So who is a real artist? Isn't Sundar an artist? So when you see this video, the questions that come up are, how do you create art and absorb art? Is art only for a visual, is it only a stimulant for a visual experience? Can it not be experienced otherwise? Artist Sharan Raj made a sound installation for this exhibition. hundreds of metal tools hitting stones in a stone quarry. Sharan Raj's parents work in this quarry, and he grew up embodying this sound. Noise became music. The second sound piece that Sharan Raj made for the exhibition was called Opari. Opari is a lamenting song that's usually sung when somebody in the village dies. He recorded an old woman singing Opari and presented it in the exhibition. So thinking of sound as art, can it still not communicate? Can it not express? Fabrication is an installation from my recent exhibition called Things Fall Apart. It is a long piece of fabric suspended from the ceiling with sharp but very fragile hooks. The fabric has number of stains adding up to the number of average menstruating years multiplied by the average number of times of menstruation. The inspiration for this work was the mythical character Draupadi, and that she was disrobed when she was menstruating. So this long piece of fabric was devised into a maze, so the audience could walk in, get lost, or move into isolation momentarily. So art in this piece is for you to experience and not necessarily confined to viewing. Kara Walker, a Black American artist, built a massive sculpture made of sugar. A Subtlety, or the Marvelous Sugar Baby, was sculpted in 2014 in the Domino Sugar Factory, Brooklyn, New York. This was a 35 feet tall, stereotyped black woman. The factory was located in a 19th century sugarcane storage and refining facility. As most places, this place thrived on slave labor. So one can say that the artist is paying homage by making this grand shrine of this figure to express or document the hidden histories within this place. This work of art has several powerful meanings, and particularly in the context of the medium, sugar has so much hidden history. Objects and materials around us have several meanings. They have a history, they occupy our present, and will haunt our futures. So in an artwork, they come alive with meaning, and when we start looking very closely, they start revealing themselves. So what can art do? Art can present itself as a trigger. It is a point of departure for new ideas. It is an experience that touches your being. It needs to speak to the entire self and body. It needs to question contemporary conflicts. Being an artist curator liberates me. I can work within the system and outside of it. It opens endless possibilities for me. Art can read between lines. It can work between disciplines. Art is a tool to make you free and not confine you to the rigidities of beauty, frames, or pedestals. So when I think of what art is, here is what I believe. Art is a significant document of time, dwelling with traces of contested histories, memories, emotions, and relationships. It's constantly reinventing itself to articulate hidden stories. Art is not out of your reach. It is an invitation for you to engage with it. I believe it can stir up something for each and every one of you, just as you had experienced it in your childhood with innocence. Art should become a significant part of our education. It is not exclusively for privileged consumption. It needs to be accessed across divisions. If education can imbibe art not just as an extra subject, but the very basis of learning, it can give us the key to understanding communication without language. How do we relate to the Mona Lisa beyond the fact that it's a popular icon? Why and how are the lives of artists like Vincent van Gogh and Raja Ravi Verma significant? How do we build a relationship with art and artists and not merely exoticize them? Beyond seeing art as an unreachable object of desire, can we begin to demystify it? Thank you.